All right, let's go live, Dave.
Yep, we are.
Okay, at this time we'll take public comments. Is there anyone that's here to address the board? Does the clerk have any slips from the public? No? No takers?
The cake was good.
Thank you.
I second that.
You'll come back, okay.
He seconds it.
Just as good as the other one.
Good to know. Okay. All right, so public comments are going. Do I have a motion for the omnibus vote agenda?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Darrenowski.
Aye.
Crease.
Aye.
Duberstein.
Aye.
Garrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, we'll move on to reports and communications. We'll start with our village engineer, Greg Ruitt.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a couple of items tonight. As far as the Cranberry Lake resurfacing project, we forwarded the plans to IDOT for their approval, and right now we're awaiting their response. Once we get their okay, we can schedule the bid opening, but we would anticipate bidding that project in July or early August. Part of that project is also funded by the Community Development Block Grant, which we received for $85,000. There's some paperwork that is due to the village from the county. We can go out to bid before we get that paperwork squared away, but we cannot award the project until the agreement between the county and Hainesville is finalized. The agreement starts with the county, so they have to draft it up and get it to us, and they anticipate getting that document to us in July. In addition to the Cranberry Lake resurfacing, Jeff and I were also able to get out to Whitetail Drive to look at some of the pavement failures that occurred during the harsh winter. Preliminarily, I would estimate that we marked up about $100,000 worth of work on Whitetail Drive, a little bit on Hunter's Way, and also a little bit on Lisk Drive. That work, ideally, our goal would be to have the Cranberry Lake contractor extend his unit prices for the Cranberry Lake bid and perform that work in conjunction with the Cranberry Lake resurfacing project. Another separate item here is Route 120 Hainesville Road. I was able to contact IDOT, and they did get funding, CMAC, Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Grant, for a $600,000 project to install a right turn lane in front of the Walgreens, basically from Route 120 westbound to northbound Hainesville Road. They're starting what they call a Phase 1 and Phase 2 engineering on that project, and I would expect that to be in the 2015 construction schedule. And then a little bit later on this evening, we'll talk a little bit more about the Lisk Drive storm sewer settlement issue. The good news is that the storm sewer itself is in good working order, and there's a proposal, which we'll discuss a little later, for a deemer to make the necessary repairs to the Lisk Drive affected homeowners.
Okay, thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, Greg, on the curb repairs and the repaving over there on Lisk and everything else?
Yes.
The curb repairs, are we going to be doing that, or are you asking the contractor to do that?
I would expect that the contractor would do that.
Oh, okay. And it would be, because I know I had mine marked up on my house, that would also be considered that also? That
Yes, yes.
everything that's marked? Right?
Everything that's marked.
Okay, that's all I just wanted to say.
Greg, on the sinkhole sinking thing on Lisk Drive, do we have any idea what we think that it's caused it? Just poor backfill when they laid the sewer pipe, or?
Yeah, just poor backfill when they laid the sewer pipe, exactly. It might be, have been some frost when they laid it. I don't know what time of year it was, but obviously it's settled over the past 15 years.
Okay,
It's been repaired for numerous times.
I know there's no way we can go back against, the contractor for recompense, but, it's just a real pain in the back.
Our initial thought was maybe that the joints were coming apart, but having televised the sewer, that's not the case.
Okay.
Which is good.
Yeah, oh no,
Yeah, very good.
that's real good.
It's not going to be as nearly as expensive a repair as
No, that's That's expensive.
Any other questions for Greg? Okay, let's move to our village attorney, Jim Rock.
Thank you, Mayor Soto. Just a couple comments tonight. We reviewed and updated the final police services agreement that is going to be voted on under the business section of the meeting tonight, and also prepared the annual prevailing wage ordinance, that the favorite ordinance of everybody this time of the year. As we all know, it's a requirement of the state of Illinois that every unit of local government adopt that ordinance. And that's my report for tonight.
All right, thank you. Public Works Superintendent Jeff Gately.
Thank you. I am happy to report that our Emerald Ash Borer project from last year is completed. All of the trees are in the ground and gator bagged. Things went very well. They look very nice. As far as the grant goes, all of the necessary paperwork has been filled out. Kelly and I have been working on it together. We have everything ready when she gets back in. I believe on Thursday we're going to get everything sent in to get our reimbursement up to the $10,000. That said, next week we'll be starting to take down trees for the Emerald Ash Borer project for this year. This year we're going to be taking down 60. We're going to try to get them removed and replaced this fall. Again, it's all weather dependent. The weather's just been so strange. Everything seems to be late. That's planning on starting next week. We're also going to be doing some tree pruning throughout the village during the same period. There's some of them by the stop signs, sidewalk areas. That'll include all the subdivisions, especially for public safety.
That's parkway trees.
Yeah,
Let's stress
just parkway trees.
which are municipal trees.
Yes.
I can't stress that enough to residents.
Yeah, and we will not be, taking gigantic limbs off. It's more of the smaller things, so people, you want it to be at least 6 feet off the ground. That's kind of the standard for the lowest branches. Obviously, we've had a lot of rain. Thankfully, we have not had a lot of issues. Our stormwater, all our ponds seem to be doing quite well. We had a couple little issues with restrictors that just get clogged, but those are monitored frequently, especially after we have a storm event. Those are the things we check immediately just to make sure that everything's flowing well. One other project that we did get taken care of early, we were able to get wood chips replenished on the east side of the walking path around Cranberry Lake, starting from the end of Tall Oak all the way down Hainesville Road, just past the gazebo over to west of Bighorn. There's a couple areas that Greg and I forgot to mention, but we'll talk about it, on some of the slopes where we need to come up with a system to try to retain these chips from just washing down. There's an area off of Jubilee in a grass area to come down. So we still have chips left to take care of that. Obviously, with the trees we'll be taking down this year, we're going to have plenty to do whatever we need. So hopefully we'll have that taken care of shortly. One other thing that we're working on, we did pass a budget for the street lights, to get the heads replaced for the LEDs. Linda and I have been working together to get a package together so we can go out to bid. We've become aware that there are grants available. So I have been working on a grant. Linda and I have been looking at it over the
It's
next
the
couple
DECA
of
grant.
days. It's a DECA
Most
grant.
of you have heard of. It's-
Yeah, there is up to $300,000 available per facility for indoor and outdoor. So not only have I included the street lighting, but I also included the public works building in the office area. Those fixtures are 20 years old, and the well houses. We can get those upgraded for free. And it is possible that it could be 100% funding for each different facility. So let's keep our fingers crossed and see if we can
Keep your fingers crossed.
see if we can get this. And that's all I report right now.
Question.
Yes.
Will you be taking down other trees in the parkway that need replacing?
Yes.
Besides the ones on the
Yes. Yeah, we did the assessment about a week and a half ago. Primarily what I did is I went through and looked at the ash trees first and then went back and identified the non-ash. But anything that's dead right now will be taken down and is on the list to be replaced. We're not really locked into last year where we could only do, we only had the funding for the 40. This year, we had extra, we know that we're taking 60. I think the total's like 64 or something like that, with the other non-species. So we'll be fine.
Does the grant extend for years, or is it, was that
No,
just last year?
that was a one-time thing for last year, and there was nothing offered this year.
It's not being offered?
No.
Okay.
Hopefully next year. We'll take what we can get. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Jeff? Okay, Police Chief, Phil Perlini.
Just a couple of things. Obviously, there's been a lot of traffic problems since the Hainesville road's been closed. What we've done is set up a little system so that we have officers in various locations monitoring speeds and stop signs, along with the we've got the mobile radar unit that gives the readout, the speed wagon. We have that almost permanently out there because we know it's going to be a while, so people can get an idea how fast they're really going down the street. We've noticed two things. People aren't really driving that fast, which is good, and people are, for the most part, observing the stop signs. We've also noticed that since school is out, traffic is lessened through the, the cut-throughs, let's say, is lessened quite a bit. In the mornings, I might come through in the morning, and I come through again in the afternoon, going to and from my house to work, and I've noticed that there is a reduction in traffic. The other thing, Mayor Soto and I were talking about a speed campaign possibly to start up to monitor speeding in the neighborhoods. We've been discussing different ways to do that and combat that. But all in all, I would say that the streets are there's more traffic going through the streets, but there's less violations. So we're accomplishing something there. But I do know that we get a lot of complaints about the amount of traffic that goes through. There's really nothing we can do to regulate that. All we can do is hope that people obey the laws, and they seem to be doing that. We've had a lot of extra details in the area, just looking at stop signs and things like that. So, and a lot of times we end up not writing any tickets. The tickets we have been writing are actually for cell phone use more than anything else. So it's another reminder for everybody to stay off their cell phones when you're driving. We appreciate that. And we introduced sort of a new portion of our reporting here where we account for residential and non-residential patrols in Hainesville, where in years past they were creating a number, a service number for those. We don't do that anymore. We feel it's much easier for the officer and much safer on their computer to be able to change a status rather than go through a different clicking things on the computer to get where they need to get to make a new call. All they have to do is change their status. It takes about a third of a second. It's one cursor over. So when they hit the residential neighborhoods from the non-residential, they pull over, they click one little thing on their computer, and it goes into residential patrol. Now we've been counting those and been able to count those better than we were counting them in the past. And I don't know if you've read the report, our last report, but we've added those numbers in since the beginning of the year, and it's more than doubled the service numbers for the village. And it's because we're getting better.
Just the full board doesn't have that report.
Okay.
Okay. Since the report is still in the works and being fine-tuned, I've left that with me and the public safety chair. So.
And I will be working on
Yeah.
obviously getting the time portion of that in there. That's a little farther out there. So the report's a little bit more complete anyway for those that have seen it. And definitely a better guide for us, because I know that we were doing things that weren't necessarily getting counted and now they're getting counted. So it makes me happy too. I guess that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
I'd like to just add a comment. I know that the first week of June, we've had issues, and we're going to discuss this later on. There's always issues with these traffic signals. Route 120 and Hainesville Road, and Route 20 and 134. They're old, antiquated lights, and it's very frustrating. But we had a sensor go down at the light at 120 and Hainesville Road, and also a timing issue. And these timings on these lights cannot be changed remotely. Somebody literally has to come out and go to the box to change the timing. So I know there was a lot of frustration, and there was a lot of angry emails and phone calls coming to the Village Hall, not just from residents, but people that just drive through our town, getting to and from work or school or wherever it is they're going. And so, you know, that did make us contact IDOT and Lake County DOT. And I think that week we endured a lot more cut-through traffic because people were so frustrated, and I called it road rage cut-through traffic. They were so frustrated, I think they were driving through the neighborhoods angry, you know. And obviously people picked up on that, but I think that has gotten a lot better. So we'll talk about that more further down on the agenda. Any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll move on. Our treasurer, Kelly Hensley, is actually in Kentucky with her son at college orientation. It's her first one going to college. But before she left, she is busy, been getting ready for the audit, and we will have them in-house next week. So she'll be back in Thursday and is prepared to start that procedure with them. And we'll move on to our village clerk. Yeah, and that's the And, well, and actually, that is not surprising. Before I go into my report, Kathy's father recently passed away, and we attended services for her father on Friday the 13th. And for quite a few months leading up to her father's passing, Kathy has had really a grueling schedule and caring for her father and other family needs, and also still trying to maintain her duties as village clerk. So peace be with all. Things have come to an end, I think, for the best for everyone. And we're glad that Kathy is back and rested, and we're nurturing her and also making her work hard now that she's back.
And thanks for everybody's support and understanding.
And I have a thank you note from Kathy to the mayor, board of trustees, and staff. Thank you all for attending the services for my father. The plants that you sent for the service are gorgeous, as they will live in my flower garden. She wants to thank us all for all our support and kindness, and just thank you for seeing her and her family through a very difficult time. And of course, Kathy, you've been with us 14 years, and you've always been there on call, and of course, we would be there for you.
Thank you.
Don't get back to work.
Okay, so let's delve into my report. I was kind of shocked when I looked at the calendar because our last board meeting was May 13th. The very next day, May 14th, I was invited to participate in Congressman Brad Schneider's roundtable discussion. We're in the 10th Congressional District, so he heads that up. And he moves around, so that was held at the Wheeling Village Hall. Boy, what a village hall that is. You got to see that. If you've never been there, what a state-of-the-art building. Of course, they're accommodating a much larger population, but a lot of very interesting features. It was a very good discussion with other mayors from the area with the congressman. Most pertinent to Hainesville is the discussion of transportation and IDOT, Illinois needing federal funding for our roads and infrastructure. So that was a very big hot topic. May 26th, Memorial Day, Hainesville was the lead municipality in the Round Lake area parade ceremonies. And I want to thank Trustee Daly and Trustee Priest for accompanying me on the parade and the ceremonies as well. I was on vacation the first week of June, but I found out again from Congressman Schneider, he's been going around the district recognizing women-founded and owned businesses, and our very own Ingrid Secret Garden was recognized. So I did pop over for that recognition ceremony. If you've never been to Ingrid's Secret Garden, it's the best kept secret. I spread the word, go in there. It is a darling shop. It is way beyond just garden supplies. You can get teas, handmade soaps there, all kinds of gifts. And the garden plants that she carries, perennials and herbs, are more rare plants that will thrive in this area, but you're not going to find at just any nursery. So please stop by there if you can. May 22nd, I had a letter go out. It was a special notice letter that went to all single-family home residents and property owners regarding village codes on mowing, weed control, and garbage can placement. In my years on and off as official, I never thought I'd have to write such a letter that went to everyone. I'm happy to report it was highly effective. I got a lot of calls and emails, and was also stopped in front of my house or when I was out walking. Residents that thanked me for sending the letter because they've been greatly concerned about the looks of our community. And a few inquiries from people that just wanted to understand better why we got the letter. But I'm happy to report it was effective, although we did issue a few citations and we do continue to follow up, but the area is much improved. Grays Lake Community Park District. We've been advertising on our website and the newsletter. Antler Park, the oldest park in Hainesville, which was built by volunteers, was approved in the budget with the Park District for this year. And they have design boards. There'll be several options, and those will be delivered over here to our village hall and will be on display both Tuesday and Thursday, 9 to 5, July 15th and Thursday, July 16th. Or it should be 17th. I got the misprint there, sorry. Wednesday, 7/16, we will have them on display in the evening, 7 to 8:15 p.m. So all the residents will be able to come in. You can put your comment in of which choice you like better. You can make additional comments, and that feedback will all go back to the Park District. We will be sending out a special invite to those property owners that abut the park itself to make sure that they get the opportunity to come and speak on the design board. So that's exciting. That park will be redone and installed this fall. Another item of note is last Tuesday, our utility clerk, Karen Noble, resigned, giving her 2 weeks' notice. Karen has been with us almost 2.5 years. She works another part-time job for a local veterinarian, and she is going to pursue more of an opportunity in that environment, so we wish Karen the best. I know she's happy working in that setting and with the animals, so her last day will be July 1st. That being said, I've met with the staff. We've talked things through. We're not going to rush and make any changes. We want to review and analyze everything of what we need and what operations could be changed or streamlined. So for at least the next few billing cycles, our treasurer, Kelly Hensley, and our deputy clerk, Roseanne Stark, will oversee the billing of the utilities. Kathy Metzler, our clerk, will now take on payroll. And in the meantime, we'll be reviewing and looking at other options, including considering possibly outsourcing utility billing. So there'll be more to report on that in the future. And I think at this time, that's pretty much all I have. We had our little tornado scare on Saturday. Thank God we were spared. There's been a lot of severe weather in the area, so I encourage everyone, keep your home prepared, keep your emergency kits handy, because things are happening. I have relatives out in Nebraska, and if you saw what happened out there, they weren't in Pilgrim, but they were 30, 40 miles from there, and so all their windows were blown out, and they had baseball-sized hail coming vertical at the windows. They need a new roof, new siding. Thank God nobody was hurt, but yeah. And that's now considered a low priority with the insurance adjusters because what happened 30, 40 miles away. Enough thus endeth the lesson, right? Okay. Let's move on to reports of standing committees. First up is Finance, Trustee Daly.
You stole my thunder with the report of the upcoming audit. So you've left me almost speechless. No, you're blessed.
Is he finding cake down here, or what is going on?
More sugar.
Well, then let's move on to Public Works, Trustee Washington.
I can't top that.
Oh, boy. Is there a game on tonight? I talked to Public Safety, Wally, Trustee Crease, I know you got something to tell me.
We got a meeting tonight, and in that meeting, we discussed the new police report, and I was impressed with how that's split up now and gives us a better understanding of what everything's, how the patrols are and everything else, which was really good. Commend you guys on that and the hard work you guys are putting together for that. We also talked about we were talking about the electric scooters before last meeting. We were talking about that, and we were talking about the ordinance that we're thinking of proposing. And we had some different discussion, different opinions on it and everything else. We still haven't finalized it, but we're going to be working on it. We've been in touch with Jim Reich and Chief, thank you very much for the input that you put into that on other municipalities, what they have. So,
We'll put that on the July agenda, yeah. For further discussion?
Yeah, we can do that for further discussion, yeah.
You have more input then?
Yeah, we'll have more input in this way. We can see what's going on. And, I had some input from other trustees at the meeting and everything else. So
okay, great.
It's pretty good. So other than that, next meeting is in July.
Okay.
So, okay.
And it's scary that July is almost here.
Yeah.
Wetlands and open spaces and Great H Club, Trustee Duberstein.
And the garage sale.
And the garage sale.
We had 68 houses participate in the garage sale. I wish we would have had that many people coming through. For some reason, this was the quietest year. This was our 10th year, and I've never seen so few people come through and hear so many complaints from residents. But we can put ads in the paper. We can put signs out in front of all the entrances to the subdivisions. We just can't make the people get here. So we'll do it again next year.
Well, the year before was like a record year, so you don't know.
And I would say, I didn't count them, but there are probably 40 or more homes that are donating their leftovers to the Salvation Army. And I'm sure they'll be most appreciative.
So do you want feedback on when they propose that we should have it next year? What do you think?
Sure. I know there were some people who were happy that it was earlier than it's been. So sure, I would like to get feedback if you liked it in June. Last year it was July. Previous years it had been in August. So let me know what you think. And again, the weather, we can't do anything about that either, but we try. That's really all. Nothing else is too significant.
Okay. Broadcast Media Manager, Trustee Garenowski.
Well, I don't have a whole lot, but I did see that I put up the last video. The same night as the board meeting, we had 15 views, which is actually the highest views that we've had on any one given meeting. Really? And we gained a new subscriber, so we're up to, I think, 14 subscribers now. Good. Which isn't bad for a small village.
Okay.
Can they watch it without being subscribed? Can they watch it without being?
Yeah, when you the benefit to subscribing is that when the video goes up, you get an email.
So they know.
So they know that there's a new board meeting up, and they don't have to sit there and constantly monitor, and it just makes it easier for people to see the videos.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to transportation. Trustee Garrett.
Well, some of my thunder was stolen, but I do appreciate the fact that the mayor sent out that nice email showing the world's most arrogant railroad with their train crossing the new bridge. Those guys are just so hard to deal with. But I'll digress from that one.
But the project is going well.
The project's going really well, but in spite of the railroad making things difficult, okay. I did receive a rather angry email from some people out in Ingleside that traveled through our area And you saw my very timely response. And then I also went out after I responded to them and sat out and did an impromptu signal study on the east-west traveling portion. And right now, IDOT has the signal set at 1 minute and 50 seconds, and then it goes into a caution for another 7. So basically, each east-west cycle is getting 2 minutes of passage time at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I wasn't seeing any hang-ups. I was seeing more people getting antsy trying to turn left across 120 on Hainesville Road, and I, just like, oh no, he's not turning. And it was, because I see things happen a little bit faster than most people do because of my background in the transportation industry. But it was like there's plenty of time. The signals seem to be moving. I know part of this, less of it is because there's less traffic coming out of Prairie View. But I did answer them back, and IDOT did answer them and gave everybody a real nice email or a website to go to if you have complaints about it, to at least have some, so at least have a form to go to Lake County DOT and say passages so that we can at least voice our concerns about it, because I travel into Lake County and I'll tell you what, at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, it's 7 to 8 signal cycles to go from Allegheny to cross the tracks at 83 to get out east to get towards the tollway. So yeah, we do have some work to be done yet, but that's about all I have going on.
And we did have go out in the newsletter and on the website. We're encouraging everyone. Yes, of course, the village and our engineer, we are constantly talking to Lake County DOT and IDOT. And I have to applaud Lake County DOT because they really are the ones that pushed to get this right-hand turn happening in 2015. But that being said, everyone, whether you live in town or you just drive through our town on a basis, if you're frustrated or you observe something or you feel the light timing has changed again, something's going on, contact them. They're easy to find. They're easy to send an email to both Lake County Passage and IDOT. And be constructive. Just tell them the date, the time, the occurrence, what specifically happened. We need to keep sending the message to them that these have to be addressed. Because, this isn't the end of it. This is going to be an ongoing situation, especially until winter comes again. I mean, it is major construction season. As soon as this project ends, there's another one gearing up. I mean, we're going to have construction galore. So we are surrounded by it. So, additional traffic coming through here is going to be reality. So.
I have a question. On this safe passage thing that they've been touting for so many years, and you say it's not, they can't come out and do these. How far along is this thing?
Well, the cameras are mounted on the poles now.
Right.
Separate poles from the light. But the lights themselves, you need the new traffic signals, and that's why Lake County DOT went to IDOT and said, when you do this right-hand turn lane, we want to put in the new signals, we want to do it with you, and we want to hook them up to the Lake County Passage.
Yes, because it all ties into a fiber optic and a microwave system that transmits all the signals back and forth to the control center around Keegan. And right now, it's it's the old style manual cabinet. So,
but like, say, how far along are they with this? I mean, it's not just us. Apparently.
Oh no! In fact, we're further out. I mean, it was easy to do further in. Waukegan on out.
Right.
The further they get out and the lights get further apart, it's the communication system. Are they going to make it wireless, or are they going to run hardwire?
Yeah, they're going to do fiber optic, or they're going to go microwave.
Yeah. So that's part of the setup.
Can't get there from here.
Well, but you can look at intersections on the website. Yeah, wasn't that pretty?
Any other comments or questions? All right, let's talk about our special event coming up, September 6th and 7th, the Hainesville Heritage Fest, 1864 Civil War encampment and skirmish. Elijah Haynes and Ada Mary Lincoln will be on site. I'm happy to say that sponsorship letters went out, and I'm happy to report that in just the last few days, we have had we've had 10 sponsors respond, so we have a total of $4,400 already in donations. And so that's just the start of it. And I've heard from a few other people, so I know that there's definitely a few more coming, and I'm hopeful that we'll have quite a few more coming. So we're off to an exciting start. The Colonel just sent me an email with a few dates for a future planning meeting, so we'll be meeting with him shortly, and so we'll have some more exciting news to report. Also, the 1800s baseball game, that's going to be on Sunday. We have heard from different residents who want to participate in the game, so spread the word. If you want to be part of the game, contact us, let us know, we'll get you on a list. There's going to be a mailing going out to everyone soon because the groups are going to meet. It's going to be a Grays Lake versus Hainesville game. And we're going to have residents from both towns as well as some celebrities. Phil Perlini will be on the Hainesville team, and I think Paul Maplethorpe's our fire chief is going to be on our team as well. So.
Oh, that's scary.
So it's going to be a wheelchair game? Maybe afterwards.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's all good stuff. All right, we're going to move on to business. First item up. The famous state of Illinois ordinance adopting prevailing wage rates to be paid to laborers, mechanics, and other workers performing construction and public works for the village of Hainesville.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Darrenowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Juberstein.
Nay.
Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried. Ordinance number 14-6-190.
Item 2 is to waive the bid process for List Drive failed backfill over storm sewer project.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustees Darrenowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Juberstein.
Aye.
Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item 3 is to award List Drive failed backfill over storm sewer project to Deemer Plumbing and Excavating Limited for $27,000.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Darrenowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Juberstein.
Aye.
Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and item 4 is to award List Drive a total of 5 right-of-ways replacement job to Superior Paving Incorporated for the amount of $10,750.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Darrenowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Juberstein. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, and number 5, just for clarification for the public, I had a couple of inquiries about this, some are confused. While our contract with the police department did not expire, we had a 5-year contract, but we want to keep it turning, especially the village of Grays Lake. I give them applause because they actually have a 5-year financial plan projected out. So to stay current with their plan, they want to add on to the back of our contract. We still have the out clause for either party, although I would certainly hope that we would never want to look at exercising that. So that's what we're looking at here. So number 5 is the amended and restated police services agreement between the village of Grays Lake and the village of Hainesville. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustees.
You beat me to it, just a second.
Yeah.
I just want to inform the board that the pricing of the contract was negotiated between Hainesville and Grays Lake, and we actually managed to freeze the fee for the first 2 years of the extended contract, and in the negotiations also lowered the rate of increase for the remaining few years.
Roll call.
Trustees Darrenowski.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Juberstein. Barrett.
Aye.
Daly.
Aye.
And Washington.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, the final item up for business is update on traffic due to construction. And as the chief mentioned, Trustee Priest mentioned, we're still discussing and exploring ideas on how to control the cut-through traffic. You can't make it go away. You want to make them at least respect the speed limit and, you know, respect our stop signs. And I know a lot of people blame it on cut-through traffic, but I have to say I see a lot of residents violating this as well. So there's residents that are speeding, and there's certain key areas. And so one of the things that was talked about was signage. We don't want to go overboard with signage, but there are some areas that was identified. I talked to the chief a little bit about it. Jeff brought me a book with a sample sign. Actually, a resident of a young child came in and actually mentioned a similar type sign. So I'm going to pass this around. One of the signs we're looking at is the Watch for Children sign, and it has the child running after the ball going into the street. It's a diamond-shaped sign, and so one of the streets that's a primary candidate for it is Centennial, the curve. They come flying around the curve right here behind the Village Hall. You can see them. That's a place that we would definitely put the sign. Jeff, I think you identified a couple other places, or I'm looking at the chief. So
coming down the hill on Bighorn with all the kids on Bighorn before my school.
Yeah, Bighorn, you know, where there's large stretches. So, so Jeff was talking about ordering a few of these signs and getting those put in definitely. So that's one of the steps we're going to take. But is there any additional thoughts or ideas or input?
Portable toll booth. Two birds with one stone, slow them down, increase our finances.
I'll even open it to the floor here. We have a small audience. Any input from anybody in the audience? Any comments on that? From the cameraman?
Speed bump.
Speed bump.
Nice for the snow plows.
Yeah, yeah, snow plows love speed bumps.
I hear for the residents too. They create a lot of noise, and I think people don't foresee that. Even painting on the roadway creates a lot of noise, and you don't notice it from nighttime, but when you're sleeping, it'll take you out of sound sleep. So
We sleep through freight trains.
What are those, the rent-a-car places, the spikes?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one, hydraulic spikes.
I think that there's a lot of little things we can do that will be effective. And I had a study the other day, a couple ideas I think that might work. And it's all going to be targeted areas and at certain times, and it creates the, you know, the knowledge burns in everybody's brain that takes that way every day, that when I see this, I'm going to see a cop on the radar.
Well, see, that was one of my comments, is that your visibility, since you've taken over as chief in the community, has increased way up the ladder. And I'm always asking for, you know, help on my intersection, because my intersection is notorious when people come rolling down the hill, tap the brakes and run, and as my son would say, no cop, no stop. And I'm going like, no, that's not the idea behind this, but I think more visibility during peak times is helping off a lot to slow some people down. I've noticed that it's a little bit better, but there's people that still are looking like this at that intersection. If they don't see anybody, they're standing on it. So, and how do we control that? I don't know, unless we, you know, permanently put somebody there. And I know you can't do that. We can't.
Drones.
People watching too much.
Chief, use your microphone, please.
Drones would be good. I like that.
Yeah, there you go.
I want some video. I'm happy to let you park in my driveway with any car you want. Just hang out there.
And you know, a lot of residents say that, but the fact of the matter is, if we're sitting in a driveway, we're probably creating more of a problem than we're trying to help, because it for some reason really panics people when they see a squad car sitting in a driveway. We're much better off sitting down the road and where our radars work, and we do have a couple lasers also. But the way they work, obviously, we're reading your speed before you see us, hopefully. And as Trustee Barrett said, you know, a lot of it's about people seeing us and creating that presence everywhere, which I think people have probably noticed. We've seen quite a few more squad cars. I know that Hainesville is a beat, we like to say, but Hainesville is more than a beat. We have several cars in Hainesville at the same time. Usually it's not just one car driving around. We have supervisors, we have myself, we have community service officers. All it creates that visibility. We've had the traffic, we've had the radar wagon out here a few times. We put it on Hainesville Road recently, just to try and slow people down, because as traffic gets bad, as traffic gets worse, and because of Washington Road, we get a lot of southbound Hainesville traffic in the evening, and we're trying to slow those people down. The other thing that people aren't really realizing is all the construction traffic has to have a place to go to. All those full dump trucks and everything, the semis and everything, they need roads to use also. And they use Hainesville Road, they use 120 because there's no other alternates right now. And we do our best to monitor that, but they're professional drivers. You know, sometimes when you're driving in an urban setting, maybe you tend to speed a little bit, and those are really the people we want to slow down because they can do the most damage. And being the professionals they are, they notice they're going over the speed limit, they do slow down. So we've noticed an increase in truck traffic, but we've also noticed an increase, or I should say a decrease in speeds. I sat out here myself and monitored the other day. You sit in a plain car a lot of times, which I should probably, I don't know whether I should advertise or not. We sit out by the speed board with a plain car. A lot of times we have 2 or 3 plain cars, no lights in them or anything like that, and then we radio down to somebody sitting out by Russo or something, and we'll stop speeders that way. So some little tricks from the past, state police used to have NASCAR and timing devices and things like that. We don't use timing, but you know, we can't outrun the radio, so.
That was Indiana's biggest trick, where they used the stripes on the window of the squad cars out there on the tollway. Fast car, yeah.
Right. I was just thinking, and I say this only with tongue slightly in cheek, state police also used to put dummy cars out.
They did.
Cars.
Yeah, with dummies and mannequins in them, yeah.
We had a little discussion about that actually the other day.
Until they got their squads car vandalized, and then they decided that wasn't such a good idea.
Right. That's.
We would probably end up getting the car painted.
I wouldn't want our car
a little
painted.
decal put on it or something.
So it's.
Well, I wasn't thinking long term in any one spot.
No.
It doesn't need to be a lot.
But
It's
clever. Yeah, regulations on the car and things like that. So,
okay.
And you know, I don't want to create
I
don't want to make people think they need to check to see if there's really a police officer in that car or not. When people see a police car, I want them to know that there's a police officer in that car. So if they need help or something, they're not going up to an unmanned car. So, you know, there's a lot of little problems with it too. It's fine on the tollway and things like that, but I think around here we just need to have everything manned. So we're working hard on it, and like I say, we're sort of flooding the area, trying to solve a few problems to kill 2 birds with one stone, like you were saying. And you know, the funny, well, it's not funny, but the strange part about it, I guess, is that we're monitoring speed and stop signs, and what we're really finding is people are just talking on their phones.
You know, we didn't talk about horse patrol yet.
No, we didn't, but that would be neat.
Georgianne, did you have something?
Yes, I was wondering if you had any way of checking the weight on some of these big trucks that are coming through?
I actually just had a conversation. We have one officer that's very well trained, very well versed in truck enforcement. Unfortunately, he's out on an injury right now. He should be back maybe in another 2 weeks or a month. We do have other officers that can do it, but this guy's really good. But we were talking about using either maybe a Lake County Sheriff's officer, 2 that are specially trained, or the state to come out with portable scales. If it turns out to be a problem. Now, we don't see many problem trucks on Hainesville Road. They're not running overweight. I was a truck enforcement officer for years, so I haven't really noticed it on Hainesville Road. Now, on 120, some of the semi-traffic occasionally, and that could be over. most times it's gravel trucks and things like that, and they haven't really been running heavy. Even the garbage trucks have. With the wet weather, sometimes they're running a little heavy, but, you know, if they're a danger, you obviously know, you can tell, any police officer with some experience can tell the truck that's too heavy. We can always call the state out, and we've been entertaining the thought about putting up some scales, but the last thing we want to do is slow traffic down when it's already as bad as
Because that will be the end result of that.
And we gotta have a place to do it, and
right.
There's not really any really good place to set up a set of portables until.
Not here right now. I mean, the only place that we were thinking of doing is if we set something up, maybe pulling them off into the school with the school's permission and weighing them there on portable scales.
Will that be rough on their parking lots, Chief?
Yeah, well,
I know.
like I say, just a thought.
You mean Round Lake Park is missing some?
Yeah. Yeah, Wayne was missing a few.
Okay, any other comments or thoughts on traffic and construction? Motion for adjournment? All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:11.